Alright, so the last time that we checked in with BJ Penn, I talked about how he was arrested not once but twice over the span of 48 hours, and I also broke down his very strange arrest video. And you know what? I resisted the urge to make another video about him after he got arrested a third time on May 30th for failing to appear in court, and I even kept my mouth shut after he was arrested a fourth time on June 12th for once again violating the court-mandated restraining order against his mom. And honestly, if he was just spouting off about how his family has been killed and replaced by imposters, then I wouldn't have even felt the need to make another video about him, but the past few weeks he's turned the crazy dial up a couple of notches, and yeah, I'm gonna be talking about all this and more. I need you guys to look at this Instagram post that he made from a couple of days ago. This is the main reason that I wanted to make this video. Because yes, he's already been acting crazy enough by saying that his mom, brother, nieces, nephews, and friends are all imposters and are out to steal his money, but tell me why he's starting to accuse other fighters of being imposters as well. Or at least that's what I think is happening here. On the first panel of this picture, he shows UFC champion Kayla Harrison standing on the scale during the UFC 316 weigh-ins. Right off the bat, BJ puts up a quote that says, "Masked fighters don't weigh in," and he credits this quote to himself. The next piece of text that he adds asks, "Is this the same person?" Meaning he's calling into question whether or not this Kayla Harrison is the same person as this Kayla Harrison, which yes it is. Then in the second panel where he shows Harrison 8 hours later after she was able to eat and drink water, he throws up some more text that says, "Nothing against Kayla, I'm sure Juliana Pena never weighed in either. BJ Penn weighed in every time, no IV, no PED." So at this point you might be noticing that BJ's referenced himself in the third person twice now, which is weird, and I hate to say it, but this is not a one-off thing. Later on in this video, I'm going to show you guys some more of his posts where he continues to talk about himself as if he is not himself. But the fact that he's talking about himself in the third person isn't even the craziest part about this post. Like, this is definitely Kayla Harrison. Sure, the 8-hour difference between her looking super dehydrated here and after replenishing here is pretty dramatic, but this is literally what happens in a sport where fighters cut weight. Do I even really need to give examples of this? Like, we literally see fighters on a weekly basis stepping onto the scale looking like they're on death's door, and then within a couple of hours, they're back to looking like their normal selves. You would think that a guy who fought as a professional for damn near 20 years would understand that, but I guess not. Also, BJ's claim that he never used IVs in order to make weight is pretty funny to me because I seem to recall him getting suspended for 6 months by USADA for using an IV back in 2016. At the time, he claimed that he didn't know that this was a new rule, seeing as the last time he fought in 2014, there were no IV restrictions. But call me BJ Penn, but does this explanation not kind of imply that he used IVs before? Oh, I didn't know that IVs are banned now. The last time I used them back in 2014, they were allowed. I don't know, I guess there's still enough plausible deniability for him to just say that he knew that other fighters were using IVs in 2014, so he assumed that they were still allowed, but I still think it's a little suspicious. Regardless, the guy cannot say that he never used IVs to help with cutting weight when he literally got suspended for using an IV. Anyways, believe it or not, when we go to the next slide, things somehow get more bizarre. Once again, there's a photo of Kayla at the weigh-in smack dab in the center, but he adds more text at the top that says, "Many of my opponents didn't even lose a pound," where once again he credits this quote to himself. In most cases, I would take this opportunity to crack a few jokes and make fun of a fighter claiming that many of their opponents never lost a pound before stepping into the ring against him, but when it comes to BJ, this isn't even cope, it's full-blown insanity and delusion. Like, does this guy really believe that fighters both past and present are using body doubles that weigh in for them? In the next block of text, he asks, "Does this article make the non-existent weigh-in more believable?" Which is really confusing to me because I have no idea what article he's referring to. He doesn't put any article in the picture, and when I go to the caption of the post, he doesn't provide any links to an article, so I'm genuinely lost here. He goes on to say that he's sure that GSP, Habib, and Islam Makhachev have never weighed in, before ending the post by saying that Kayla considered retirement during the weight cut. But I thought it wasn't even really Kayla weighing in, so why would she consider retiring during a weight cut when she wasn't even really cutting weight in the first place, BJ? Also, what do you mean GSP, Habib, and Makhachev never weighed in? Are they all using body doubles also? Where is this endless supply of people who look virtually identical to these fighters coming from? Dude, this is just wild, and it's obviously a development from where BJ was a couple of weeks ago when it was only his family that was being cloned or replaced or whatever. Now, not only has his family been replaced by body doubles, but both past and current fighters are also apparently using body doubles to weigh in for them, but of course BJ is one of the only fighters who did weight cutting the right way for his entire career. I could really keep talking about this post, but I want to take you guys through a couple more examples of BJ's craziness. There's this video from 2 weeks ago where he films a tree outside of his house and claims that there was a man in the branches who obviously had to be a spy hired by his fake mom. And for the first like 2 minutes of this video, you literally can't even see anybody in the tree. But to his credit, eventually you do end up seeing a guy up there shaking the branches, which for some reason has made people in the comments lose their minds because apparently this is somehow proof that BJ's being followed. And it's like, sure, there is a guy in the tree, but have you people heard of an arborist? They're kind of dudes whose job it is to maintain trees. They've kind of been around for hundreds of years. There's also a lot of arborists who work in Hawaii because, newsflash, there are a lot of trees out there. You know somebody's talking crazy when Jason Mayhem Miller had to step in and be the voice of reason and straight up says that this guy is almost definitely a tree trimmer and not not some sort of spy or a sabotage squad member, as BJ likes to refer to them as. But let's just say for the sake of argument that this dude is actually some sort of spy that was hired by BJ's fake mom. If this was the truth, then the fake mom should demand her money back, because this guy is without a doubt the worst spy I've ever seen. If you are so bad at being a spy that you're shaking branches, breaking branches, and just generally being noticeable to your target who's like 40 feet away from you, then you need to consider changing your job. Like, is BJ seriously trying to convince us that the same criminal organization that has apparently mastered the art of cloning people are also hiring spies that are this dog shit at being inconspicuous? He also posted this video of his mom lifting a table and moving it like 5 feet to the side. He tries to paint it as some sort of supernatural display of strength, because surely there's no way that an 80-year-old woman can move a table that looks like it's 20 pounds max. This might be a good time to bring up the video that BJ released of the altercation that he got into with his mom that resulted in him getting arrested the first time.
You have to put that in my face. Hit me! Hit me! No, hit me! Right there! Hit me! Why do you have that in my face?
Now, for those of you who are unaware, this incident took place after BJ had been harassing and abusing his mom for weeks, and in the very same day, he glued the lock to her bedroom door so that she couldn't get inside of her room, and stole her mail, which she found in the backseat of the car that they're arguing next to. And according to her statement in the police report, this altercation does play out pretty closely to what we're seeing in the video. BJ backs his mom up to the car, shines a flashlight in her face, and she calls out to Reagan Penn for help. However, what was not included in the police report is the fact that she yells at BJ multiple times to hit her. Obviously, BJ thinks that this is noteworthy enough to call her out on it, hence why he posted the video, and it seems to have worked, because there's a lot of people in the comments saying that a real mom would never try to goad her son into hitting her. This has to be an imposter. But you know what? My fucking 4'11" Asian mom has straight up squared up with me before when I was acting like a little shit towards her. This is what they do. I was being an asshole to my mom once, and she literally said, "You want to act tough? Then let's go then." Asian moms seem like passive little ladies, but not when their kids are trying to disrespect them. And seeing as BJ had been absolutely terrorizing her for weeks, I would imagine that she was at her wit's end and didn't want to back down to her son, who she just caught red-handed stealing her mail and lying about it.
As far as I know, you owe.
I just want 51%.
You owe nothing.
I just want 51. What do you
owe
mean?
Nothing.
But you love.
I'm just telling you.
You're gonna get yourself
you
into
owe
a much
nothing.
bigger problem. We
You
walk
owe
inside.
nothing.
We go inside the court and
You're
you start saying I owe nothing. You're gonna get into a
asking
big
me.
problem.
I'm
No,
ready.
we're just talking.
I'm ready.
What
to
are you
go
ready
to court.
for?
Let's go.
Even if you're my mom, even if you're my mom and you walk inside there,
the
even if
court
you really were my.
decide.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you,
Let the court
even
decide.
if you
I gotta
really
check
were my
this
mom,
people now.
you gotta be scared of that. Even if you really were my mom, to say that I own nothing is gonna screw you guys bad. You do know that, right, Lorraine?
And then he posted this, which I can only imagine he slapped together while he was high on meth, because this shit doesn't make a lick of sense. Can you imagine how precious a soul is if God and the devil are both fighting for it? Wagyu Soul Farm Earth Double Standard Prison Tormented Souls taste the best. Then here's a couple of more posts from the last few days where BJ is referring to himself in the third person, which again, he definitely wasn't doing a couple of weeks ago. I made it very clear on my last video about BJ that I think he's been using meth along with obviously experiencing the effects of CTE, and I'm just saying, when I asked ChatGPT if meth heads refer to themselves in the third person, this is what it says. Not all meth users do, but yes, it's actually not uncommon for people in the middle of a meth-induced episode to refer to themselves in the third person, especially during a psychotic break or paranoid delusion. And this next part I think seems very relevant to what's going on with his condition. It's also tied to delusions of grandeur. Some meth users think they're being watched, recorded, or are part of a movie or divine mission. So the third person might feel more theatrical or detached, like they're narrating their life as a character in a story. I think that this is right on the money with what's going on with this guy, because I have only showed you a small amount of his recent social media activity, but if you go through his Instagram, you will notice that he kind of rotates between making posts about all the imposter stuff, and then he'll make memes where it's obvious that he sees himself as a hero and a victim at the same time. It really seems like he thinks he's some sort of Jason Bourne sort of character where he and he alone can unravel this conspiracy of the sabotage squad taking over his family as well as the UFC. I will put it this way, if BJ was actually caught up in this crazy situation where literally everyone around him has been replaced and they're out to get him, why is he spending his time even making these memes? The memes aren't going to do anything to help the situation. He's only posting them to reinforce this delusion that he's some sort of lone wolf badass that's being targeted by a secret society that also happens to employ the world's worst spies. I don't know, man. I would laugh at all of this if I didn't find it extremely depressing. And sure, I make my stupid little jokes about what's going on with him, but I promise that does not mean I think it's a laughing matter. This is a UFC Hall of Famer who has fallen victim to drug abuse and CTE and is clearly falling deeper into the depths of his psychotic delusions. And I think it's a huge fucking shame that there's so many people that follow BJ that feed into his crazy thoughts and ideas, but at the same time, he will lash out at his followers who urge him to get help. Anyways, that's the video for today. Definitely let me know what you think about the developments of BJ Penn's situation. How can you help someone that not only doesn't want help, but thinks that they're the hero of their story? As always, if you like the video, then like the video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I appreciate you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.